So you want to release the Kraken. The Kraken on your top lip, of course. Do you want to grow out your mustache completely naturally? Well, I've been doing it for about 9 months now. As you can see, it is getting very long, and I have defined 5 different stages of growth that you'll probably encounter, and I will explain the pros and cons of each one of those stages of growth and give my overall summation over whether it's even worth it to grow out the entirety of your mustache. So stay tuned. Hello, traveler. It is your image consultant and shield brother, Veselka from Urban Hazard Image Consulting, where we show you how to make a full style transformation from baseline to what I like to call the Urban Hazard style in 3 steps. Step 1, learn to fill out your patchy beard. Step 2, learn to grow out and style that ascended beard. And then thirdly, learn to complement your beard with bold, intentional outfits. If you would like to embark on the journey of transforming your style, please subscribe, press that bell. Let's get into the video. So we're about to dig real deep, but as a disclaimer, this is my personal experience with growing out my mustache naturally. A lot of you guys might run into the same stages of growth, and I might describe your journey completely, point by point, but other guys, due to, limitations in their mustache growth and the terminal length of certain parts of their mustache, certain stages might not occur to you at all. In fact, you might skip stages, and of course, every man is different. This is my experience and my experience alone. So in the first stage of your mustache's quest for growth, the first hairs will start to leave your epidermis filtrum and upper lip. And slowly but surely they will crest the top of your lip. Some will stick outwards, but others will festoon. Slowly but surely leaving it. And this stage was lasted until about week 6 or 7 for me personally. Again, my mustache grows very, very quickly. So the pros of this phase, obviously, very, very low maintenance, pretty much no styling needed in the morning unless you truly have a very, stubborn mustache. In that case, I very highly suggest you use the side-to-side blow dryer method with a brush, and that should get all the hairs laying down pretty straight, and maybe add some mustache wax into the equation. But obviously, this corporate appearance and this low, maintenance type of stash is not what we're going for. This is not why you're watching the video. You want to know whether you should grow out your mustache further than that, right? And of course, the con is the mustache doesn't look very big, which is probably what you wanted to achieve. You want to achieve the biggest mustache look possible. All right, let's move into phase 2. So, phase 2. Phase 2 for me lasted about from week 10 to week 16, and I like to call this phase, please God, oh please, murder me, strike me down from the sky, I don't want to live. It sucks, okay? And I'll tell you why, right? You have no potential to handlebar, right? You have just a little bit to grab on the ends. And, the middle of the lip, typically, again, everyone is different, it might not happen to you, but, you're getting all kinds of, overgrowth here, and with no potential to do any type of sweep. The more weight you establish within the mustache, the more you have to sweep over with product or with heat or whatever. But for me, in this first, in this 6 weeks or so, I couldn't do that whatsoever. It wasn't to the point where I couldn't eat soup or drink or stuff like that. That came later. But it was incredibly annoying because any product that you put in your mustache, it instantly just went. So that's all the cons. The pros, it looks incredibly large. I will give this stage of growth that. It does look incredibly large. Objectively speaking, it is not big. It's not a big mustache at this point between the 10 and 16 week mark, but I actually got a lot of compliments in this. I was suffering, let's put it that way. I had to put a lot of product in my mustache in order to keep it the way it was. And I was also using a heat brush at the time to kind of keep it cemented, but that still wasn't doing the trick. In my opinion, the cons outweigh the pros. So let's move into the next phase of growth. So phase 3, I experienced phase 3 from about week 16 to week 28. So what I would describe phase 3 as is you're now getting, quite a bit of growth on the ends, so you can get probably a pretty healthy handlebar depending on, how strong the ends of your mustache are in terms of genetic potential. And then also, what you're getting is enough size and length in the middle section so you can get a nice swoop going on. But the downside to this is it's a swoop, right? But the natural shape and nature of the swoop is one that kind of creates a wall where liquids cannot pass. It was around this time where I was putting a credit card on a mug and I was drinking tea out of it because it was just so freaking annoying to have to readjust my mustache every single time I wanted to take, a drink of tea, right? And of course, everything was out of bottles. Everything was, there was a lot of, finagling around this. But don't get me wrong, very likely your mustache would look enormous at this time. And in general, there's not going to be a lot of hairs in the center that, fall down. It's not stubborn in a sense, but it is like essentially creating a big old shield with which, if that's a look that you like, hey man, go for that and just maintain that look. And I will probably return to something like that, but obviously not in a natural fashion. Right, there's going to be a little bit of maintenance up in the middle section here, so then there's going to be more of a window in which liquids can pass. And hopefully you guys will follow along for when I finally get that trim. So phase 4 of your natural mustache growing journey. I experienced this phase from week 29 to about a week ago actually. And I like to call this phase, "Oh God, please plunge a rusty knife into my scapula and twist it, because I'm in hell." So a little worse than phase 2 in my opinion, right? And this is mainly due to probably what is manifesting within my genetics aesthetically. Might not happen to everyone. Again, I'm going to say this a million times in this video. But what happens to a lot of guys actually is the middle section reaches an awkward phase where it's too heavy, where it's not long enough to have a full sweep all the way to the end of the mustache like mine is doing right now. But then also at the same time, it's too heavy. So what happens is there will be a separation in the mustache, and it's hard for me to do it now because it's actually and there's no product in my mustache right now, but essentially what was happening for the longest time, no matter how much product and no matter how much I kind of optimized the strategy going forward, I always had this separation in my mustache. And there's very clearly kind of two separations of directional growth in my mustache. This all kind of grows to the side and this all kind of grows down. And it was very clear where one began and the other started. And this happens to a lot of people. And the cons, of course, is this exactly. It's annoying. It makes your mustache look a lot smaller than it is. And the pros? There really aren't any, really. This is one of those phases you kind of have to fight through. It looks small, it's annoying, there's a lot of maintenance, and a lot of guys stop at this point in terms of growing it out naturally. They go, okay, I'm going to get her trimmed up. In fact, a lot of people stop at phase 2 as well, but those are early quitters. Yeah, just kidding. But yeah, both phases are pretty bad, so it's understandable as to why you would get a trim up after them. So phase 5 of your natural mustache growing journey, which I have just reached, I like to call the savior phase. Well, it's like it is in a sense, but it also isn't, right? What happens is that finally, in my case, of course, the hairs in the middle of my mustache have finally gotten to the point where they're canceling out the amount of weight that has been manifested, and they're going properly to the end of that mustache, getting a proper full swoop. So when I hit this with the heat brush, it irons it all out and it becomes one, and I'm barely ever really getting any separation anymore, which is absolutely fantastic. The downside, of course, with a lot of guys, the ends of the mustache at this point are probably going to be a little too long. I'm not... Actually, it's kind of crazy that, you know, I still have this much fullness. And if I chop the mustache, you know, like down to here, yeah, it would look a lot larger than it is now, and that would be a nice full appearance. And maybe I'll go for, you know, this length in the middle, and you know, that much chopped off. That would be a huge appearance for me. And I will tell you, I have pretty much no trouble drinking with this size of mustache. I have no trouble eating. I can't even remember the last time I bit into a sandwich or something like that, and you know, half of it was mustache hairs. I know around definitely phase 3, I was getting a lot of that. You know, I couldn't eat a lot of things, a lot of restrictions. You know, just mainly because I had that, you know, kind of shield blocking. It looked a lot bigger, but and you know, because it looks bigger, it kind of added to the overall size and appearance of my beard. But you know, it was kind of an issue in that sense. This is a lot more manageable in terms of that. Also, the ends of the mustache at this length, you know, the ends that you handlebar, what happens is the ends kind of get this fray going on, this little wave, and it can be really hard to tame. I find the heat brush works really well to iron out those ends. The blow dryer doesn't always do the best job of that, but I haven't had to use the heat brush for the ends in a very long time. In fact, in terms of styling at this point, man, in general, this beard length and this mustache, it's been the easiest it has ever been. Is this the best beard appearance I've ever had? Absolutely not. I would never delude myself to saying that, but that's for the next video. So guys, please like, share, subscribe. Please like, especially because then YouTube blesses my video with an algorithm soul chunks. Lads, subscribe.